Hi friends from the Western Ag Network. I'm Russell Nimitz and it's time for another On the Road segment. Today finds us in Bozeman, Montana at the Montana Ag Bankers Conference, where one of this year's keynote speakers was a good friend of ours in the industry, Randy Blach, the Chief Executive Officer with CattleFax. And Randy, thank you for taking a little bit of time before you jump on that airplane and head back to your offices down there in Denver, Colorado. But let's talk about one of your key messages, or a few of your key messages here to these Montana ag lenders here in Bozeman today.
Well, I think you got to start with the weather. You got to start with the change in weather pattern that we've experienced. Again, look across this country, how much better snowpack we've had through the winter. I know it's been a tough winter for producers in here feeding the way we've had to feed, but I look at how wet we've got in the southwest region. The central southern plains regions are still dry, but we've had some moisture in Texas. Kansas is probably still the most difficult region that we've got yet today. Kansas, Oklahoma. Southeast is in great shape. And maybe as important as anything, we're getting much better moisture situation. I think we're going into this year's planting season for our corn and soybean farmers, much better shape than we've been. So hopefully we can grow a bigger crop this year and see a little more stability come back in these grain prices as well.
You know, as we do this interview, you truly are in the heart of cow-calf country up here in Montana. And there's been some tough years up here weather-wise, and that has caused a lot of liquidation on a lot of cow-calf operations in these western states like Montana. What does that record low inventory mean in terms of profitability and in terms of market prices moving forward, though, now that we have all this beautiful moisture, which is going to run some water and grow some green grass?
Well, at some point we've got to start maintaining some heifers. I mean, we really have not had the feed resources, we've not had the water resources to retain heifers. So we had record low heifer retention in 2022. I mean, that's saying something. I mean, we just couldn't keep cows and we couldn't keep heifers. So the inventory numbers, as we start to hold back some of these heifers, we're going to tighten the supply even more here over the next few years. So obviously, I think the bottom line for cow-calf producers, you're finally going to get a payday. I mean, it's been long overdue since we've really made any money in cow-calf country, and starts with the moisture situation, some stability there, then we retain heifers. Prices are going to move higher. Again, we've got a market that we're likely going to see the number of fed animals decline 2.5 million head over the next 4 years. That's a big drop, a 10% drop in beef production over the next 4 years. Prices are going to move significantly. So again, the bottom line to me is the segment of our industry that really needs a payday is our cow-calf producers, and it's long overdue.
You talked to these groups, and one of your graphs in there was about, you know, for the past few years we've been talking about that leverage between packers and feeders, and that has made a switch now, and now we're talking about leverage from feeders to the cow-calf operator. Just walk us through what you meant there.
Well, we've got a lot of feeding capacity that we've added to, and we've always had a lot of feeding capacity, but as we've come through here, keep in mind, we're going to have that kind of decline in the number of animals that we can run through our feed yards and packing plants over the next 3 or 4 years. So what the market is really short on is calves and feeder cattle. There's not going to be as many people that we're not going to be able to fill the feed yards. We're not going to be able to adequately fill the packing plants. So that's the leverage shift that'll take place. The market needs more of what these folks have, and they're just not there. So it'll be a pretty big leverage shift that'll take place in here between those segments.
You know, talk about the marketing of the 2023 calf crop as we do this program here at the beginning of the spring. And of course, a lot of folks are now utilizing those video sales. You said those video sales are going to be awful good this year, but try to take advantage of them before you get further into fall.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about it. We're going to see some hot video sales. The market knows how short on inventory we're going to be as we go through here. That's not a very well kept secret anymore. So we'll see some really stout video summer sales, and you know, we normally would see some weakness in the calf market as we go into the fall, but I would say it'll actually even be less than normal this year just because there isn't enough cattle to go around. So I think the opportunity continues to be is if you're in a position that you can add to your inventory now, add to your cow-calf herds now, if you're in a position to do that, I would recommend do it now. Don't wait 12 months or don't wait 24 months. Now's the time to do it, because you should be able to get 4 or 5 profitable calves out of these cows here over the course of the next, between now and 26, 27.
You know, one of the other driving factors, of course, with the overall success of the entire beef cattle industry, including those here in cow-calf country, is just the tremendous demand still by that consumer out there. Consumers are still showing that they do love U.S. beef at the meat case, don't they?
They really do. I mean, it's been phenomenal to see how well beef demand is held in here. It's really been very resilient in here, and if you look across the other proteins, particularly pork and poultry, both of those markets really oversupplied their markets a little bit. We're seeing some demand erosion both for pork and poultry producers out here. So we've been watching that closely to see if we'd see any of that spill back into the beef side, but we're not seeing it. I think going forward, I think what we'll see is less featuring activity, is what we've all gotten used to over the last 2 or 3 years, but there will still be our normal spring featuring, our late April, May, June featuring will be very good features again, but they just won't last quite as long probably as we go into this stage of the cycle.
Hey, last question for you before I let you get out of here and jump on that airplane and head back home. What's your advice to not just ag lenders here in Montana as we do this interview, but across America who will see this and hear from you? I mean, now that we do have a little bit of moisture, now that we got the market headed back in the right direction, we know things have been tough across the board with challenges from drought and input costs, but what's your advice to those ag lenders for helping these guys hang on and be able to take advantage of this upswing and stay in business?
Well, I think obviously the cost of money has changed significantly. And, you know, that's a major component in here in our expenses as we go through. We think it's been about $125 to $150 a head increase in cost just from the cost of money over a 12-month time period if you were carrying an animal all the way through the production system. So that's very real. So the folks that have the capacity that they can borrow more money, I think now is an opportunity for them to be able to access more funds and to be able to take advantage of the upswing in the cycle. I think that's key. The other thing is, I think I always challenge our lenders is to make sure they're staying on the leading edge of the information and risk management tools that are available out here. I mean, there's been a tremendous change in things like rainfall insurance that have been tremendous tools for a number of our cow-calf producers. Now we have LRP. Again, these kind of programs, livestock risk protection programs, and again, futures and options markets, these are important tools in this time of incredible volatility that we're going through. And I think as long as we're in a global market, we're going to have a lot of volatility. So I would just encourage them to continue to challenge themselves to be prepared to help and assist their customers in these ways as well.
Absolutely. Well, Randy, thank you for coming up here to Big Sky
My
Country
pleasure.
and
My pleasure
talking
to be with
our
you.
Montana Ag Lenders here at the Montana Ag Bankers Conference, again underway here in Bozeman, Montana. Again, for some of that important information that Randy and his team at CattleFax work with and share every single day, you can jump online and visit them at CattleFax.com.